All right, I'll edit that out. So welcome to our next coffee chat is with Janeen Vosper. So, well, you're better at explaining what you do than I do, so I'll hand over to her. Call me lazy, but yeah.
Thank you very much, Brett. What I do is help people amplify their personal brand authority. So I help people stand out in a market that might be busy with a whole lot of people doing the same thing, and doing that through their conversation and understanding what they do exactly.
Okay, and we've just been at a networking event today, and Janeen spoke at it. Now, Janeen and I know each other. She actually spoke at the first meetup I ever organised with 9 other people. I think 7 of them I'm still in contact with and work with, so that's a pretty good effort. But all experts in their field and at the top of their field. But people want to be an entrepreneur, and they fall in love with Richard Branson's lifestyle and all this sort of stuff, or Dale Beaumont. But they don't want to be Richard Branson when he first owned his record store and people had to walk through the shoe shop to get to him upstairs. So what I want to do today is just have a bit of a coffee chat with Janeen, talk about where she's come from and how that's actually allowed her to have, I guess, a bit of empathy for people. So you're not one of those business coaches that I know that it's just, you go through and you plough on and you've got to do anything to get it done. You actually sort of look more at people than most others I see.
Yeah, absolutely, Brett. It's very much about looking at a person individually. You see all this marketing out there, this overnight success. Someone sitting on the beach doing 5 hours a week and their business is just skyrocketing. I'm going to call BS on that. That is a random business, and any coach that tells you that they can get your business to that level within 12 months is giving you the runaround. It takes time for people to get to know what you do. It takes time for you to understand what you do and how you do it and how you get it to market, getting all your systems in place. And I was having a conversation with someone a little while ago, and people look at me as a sole trader and think, how does she do everything she does? Gets out to all the places she goes, does all that marketing. And my explanation is, after this many years in business, I'm not on page 1 of my business. And I'm about page 50. But I had to be on page 1, and then page 2, and then page 3, and then page 4, and work through those processes. Now, patience and doing things right and having systems is the most important factor for anybody starting out, is recognizing that. It doesn't matter how good a technician you are, or how much how long you've done something in the past working for somebody else. It's when you step out on your own realizing, well, here's a start point, and I need to be aware I have to start at that start point.
And we've spoken about everyone's got skills, but a lot of people focus on overcoming their weaknesses and that sort of thing. Would you say that that's something that you do, or do you focus more on their strengths?
I get somebody else to cover my weaknesses.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. One of my least favourite things, look, I studied maths and statistics, and I got 96% for maths and 100% for statistics. I do understand the process. Do I like it? No way in the world. I have to do the basics accounting to hand over to my bookkeeper. So I hire a bookkeeper to do that, because that's a weakness for me. And what it is, because it takes me so much longer to do it, then I'm not focused on the things I'm very good at, which is getting on the phone and talking to people and helping people.
Which is what you love doing. So when they say if you do what you love, it's no longer work. Well, it's a case that I was having the conversation with Dennis Hall. He's built himself a similar lifestyle where he can now go out and do the networking and all this sort of stuff. And he's wrote a book called If 70 is the new 50, when do I get to retire?
Yes, yeah.
And what he said to me is, well, who says you have to retire? Why do you retire? To do what you love? Well, if you're already doing that, why don't you just get people to keep paying you for it?
And that's exactly my mindset. The retire word's not in my model at all. My husband was an employee and he has retired.
Yep.
But because I love what I do, if you stand me up in front of a group coaching or one-on-one coaching, or stand me in front of a room as a speaker, then I'm in my happy place, absolutely happy place. And I remember, I'm part of a not-for-profit public speaking organisation called Power Talk. There's a couple of clubs in Brisbane and Gold Coast and around Australia. And I remember at a conference in 2007, and that's the year that I launched my business, even though I was still working as a GM of sales for a multi-million-dollar company. But that is the year, and it was that focus that really enabled me to think it didn't matter what age, it didn't matter who you were. If you've got a skill and you want to be able to get it to the world, then work for yourself and not for a job. I heard this woman speak, and she gave the lunchtime keynote, but it was a humorous speech, and it would be about 20 minutes, and she did it each day. But this lady was well into her 80s. She had a walker, and when I first saw her walking up to the stage, I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Hilarious. Roll on the floor laughing. And she still was doing that and she came from Oklahoma, and she was still doing that at her age with those health issues. Because it's what she loved, and businesses thought she did such a great job that they would hire and pay her to do that in her 80s. I spoke to her later and I said, how do you remember the stories? They were so funny and so clever. And she said, I thought I might write them down one day, right, in case I get hit in the head. So she had no thought that she might forget them or that would change. So again, no, I'm the same. No retirement. It's just keep doing what I love and living the lifestyle that I love.
Yeah. And I guess as you get older, you sort of learn to have more difficult conversations become mainstream. And this is something that I've spoken with Jill and McDonald in the past, where when you get to 50, they send you out this little vial and you've got to give your stool sample. So for people that are over 50, when I talk about that my 7 workshops for the Startup High Intensity Training Program, which the acronym is SHIP, is actually mapped to the Bristol stool sample, which is about your eating and healthy eating and all this sort of stuff.
Okay.
What you put into your body is what you get out of it, and that's how they test whether or not you've got a healthy diet. So when you start having conversations like this regarding their business, all of a sudden people don't mind talking about their business problems compared to their shit, basically. And this is where I find when I'm talking with older people, they ask the questions. And Dylan Alcott did a speech at the Social Enterprise World Forum that I was volunteering at on 2 days ago, and he said the biggest problem with disability services in this country, we're 26 out of 28 in regards to disability employment in Australia. There's like places like Romania and stuff that are above us. One of the biggest reasons is, we're inclusive. We accommodate people with a disability, but you're still not inclusive. They're still excluded and they don't want to work there. How you make them inclusive, he said, is asking them questions. You don't go and talk to someone with a disability and go, tell me about this, or you don't go to him and talk to him about autism. No. Talk to him about what it's like living in a wheelchair, and he can tell you. But people don't ask him the questions, or people come up and say, how do you have sex? And his answer is, well, you got to buy me a beer first.
I've heard that. I read his book, and actually, he's a great guy. That is a really good point, isn't it? Asking the right questions. One of the things I teach people when I do sales training is how to ask critical questions. Because you get those questions right, you can get the answers that you need, and from those answers, you build up your marketing, you build up your business direction. It's that we get so much talking about what we do and how we do it, rather than, and again, that's one of the big things in sales, without a doubt, is listen. You've got 2 of these, 1 of these, use them in that proportion. But when you've asked a question, an open question, so you're going to get an answer, then absolutely listen. And it helps in all components with all people, and that the more you find out about people, the more you understand about yourself. And we need that in business. We really need to have that understanding.
Yeah, you've got to be able to have the difficult conversations, radical candor, as Gary Vee would call it. But this is the thing, overnight success. Gary Vee's got a video of it, and it flicks through all of his Wine Library TVs. He did like 1,000 videos for Wine Library TV, and people say he's an overnight success. No one watched the first 200. This is what he said. His biggest regret was that it took him until he was in his mid-30s that he said, you know what? I'm giving all this stuff away for free. 99% of the people that I tell this don't do it.
Yes.
So that just said to him, well, I'm just going to charge them for it, and I'm going to get 20% of the people that I tell it to do it, and I'm going to charge them 10 grand a month. And this is how he got his business. So he wasn't afraid to back himself. He knew what to do just by that 1% that actually did it. He knew it would work. It come down to the other people. So how do you deal with people with this imposter syndrome? I guess that it comes into, I saw a video that if you don't have confidence in your own ability, this is why we do the skills recognition first. What are your strengths and what do you want to double, $50 or $10? So if you're overcoming your weaknesses, you're doubling $10. Why wouldn't you double $50? But how do you know what your strengths are, I guess?
I'm going to couple those points that you talked about, with particularly with Gary. I was very much on the same model. You know, I'd be having conversations with people, and I could clearly see what I thought would help them or what they might need to do. And you know, especially after a glass of wine, I got more into that coaching mode, and my husband would say, "They haven't asked you." And I go, "You know what? You're right. So I'm going to have people pay me for it now." And that's exactly what initiated me stepping into the business, was going, "Hey, I've got all this information, all of this knowledge. How about I share it with people who will do something with it and care about it?" So that was a point. And the question now, I've forgotten the question.
How do you know? How do you find out what strengths they are, and how do you uncover, I guess, we're not talking about Tony Robbins, we won't say, she's definitely not Tony Robbins, but how do you unleash the power within, I guess, in your way, rather than what he does?
Finding out what you absolutely love to do, and it doesn't matter what business you're in, you need to start at the basics and look at your values and belief system, because they are going to either launch you or they're going to hinder you and pull you back. Especially if you're not working within stuff that you truly value. So, you know, when I work with people, we get like 50 values, that random things that everyone has, you know, being on time, being honest, blah. We cut it down to 10, we cut it down to 5. We find 2 values that you can't not be you. And that will change through life, especially the younger children. It more might be around the family. But what I find is it's still usually isn't. That'll be in the top 5, but that what makes you you. So for me, it's learning, knowledge and learning, but sharing knowledge and learning. That I have to do it. If I was locked in a box and could not do that, I would shrivel away. It's who I am. And the other thing for me is new adventures and seeking new opportunities. I turn up to the opening of an envelope. It's interesting. So I'm doing what I do every single day of the week. So for me, that becomes a strength. You get better and better and better at it because you're doing something that just seems easy and it fits within your value system, and it becomes that passion. So building on those strengths, things that people have got, you've gone, oh, I thought everybody could do that, and it surprises you how simple it is for you to do and not somebody else to do. That is another space really that you notice it. You go, and every time you think that, go, wow, okay, that's obviously a strength that I have. That it's simplistic. I have sort of a filing cabinet in my head, and I can work on multiple levels of different things, and I can just open the file, do that, and I'll go, oh, I forgot that, I need to go open that file, pop that in and come back into here. And I just thought that's what everybody did.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I started speaking to people about it, going, no, I realising they can't. Wow, isn't that something great? I can teach people how to put systems in place and get organised and save them time, because it's easy for me to do.
And it's when you start to teach people stuff, that's when you know how well that you know it. And this is what I say, people give me a topic and I can get up and talk, and I'm like Donkey from Shrek, it's getting me to shut up, that's the trick, and it's what we spoke about. It's what Janeen works on. It's, no, just say this. When you know, this is what they teach you in this professional speaking course. They don't teach you how to speak, you know that.
Yeah.
It's like you don't teach fish how to bite, you teach people how to fish.
Yes.
But it comes down to that when you're out there and you're voicing your opinions and that sort of stuff on social media, and this is Janeen and I have a go at friends of mine all the time just because I know that they can handle it, and I like to see their reactions. So how do you when you get someone that they're just getting off topic, or they're just getting like, how do you know, the trolls that you see on social media, because you spend a bit of time on there.
Yeah.
And I've made some comments and this sort of thing before, and people have gone, wow, you're really an arsehole, Janeen. You know, and all that, and they're surprised to know that we've known each other for 5 years.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with those sort of people that you don't know, I guess?
Yeah, look, for me, it's very dependent on how it affects something that is of real value to me. And if it's a topic of high value, then I'll definitely respond. But look, you can't change people's minds. And that if people are ill-informed on a particular subject and you're trying to change their mind, well then it's a waste of time. I'm not saying I'm informed on every particular topic, and if somebody breaches something, opens up something up, and then I'll go, oh, that's interesting. And knowing me, I'll go and try and find a little bit more about it so that I understand that a little more. Look, I am very opinionated, without a doubt, on a whole range of topics. Then there's a whole range of topics I don't care about.
Yeah.
And so it's what's important to your value system. And if somebody is coming at you, it's like anything in life. It's absolutely every problem that you occur. You can either move away from it, so meaning you could block somebody. You can confront it, meaning that you can go in, boots and all, and confront it, or you can change your attitude towards it. So everything that you do in life, no matter what it is, there are your only three options, and depending on the importance of it, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's something that we've spoken about. We spoke about, Janeen put up a post, and it was about personal values and all this sort of that she does feel strongly. So I know that if I make a comment, she is going to respond to it. And it's kind of like I wouldn't be challenging Janeen if I didn't think that she could handle herself, and if it is too much or too far, I know that she won't respond. And she won't get dragged into it. But this is where it comes down to you respect other people's opinions, and you actually acknowledge that yes, that's your opinion, I disagree with you. You don't attack people when they disagree with your values. You just basically manage it that way. And I think you said, oh, that's an interesting opinion, I'll get back to you when you got more time, but you made a comment on your phone. And this is where I said, no, don't worry about that, I'm coming along to your event. And she might have gone, oh, holy shit, he's going to stalk me, you're going to catch up in person. But I meant to go to the Mount Gravatt one, which is near where I live, and I went, oh, I missed it. And she said, oh, you missed my talk. And I said, well, gee, are you going to do another one? And she jumped on that opportunity, which we spoke about, she said, oh, well, I'm actually put up the link for the Springwood BX meeting. So here I am. So this is something about, if you're not looking for opportunities, how do you get people to, I guess, take advantage of opportunities if they're not looking for them? Is that something that...
If they're not looking for them, well, get out of business.
Yeah?
If you're not looking for opportunities, if you're so stuck within doing the tasks in your business and you're not working on it and looking for opportunities for growth, whether it is face-to-face or online or on media or wherever it is, then you really shouldn't be in business.
Well, go and work for someone.
Yeah, get a job.
And that's it, and they go out and look for the opportunities for you.
Yeah.
Then you might get sick of doing that and then come back and then you go, well, you're going to be looking for opportunities. So
I know I spent 20 years as a GM and taking a business from $3 to $10 million that wasn't my own business and doing it extremely well. And it moved into that part-time while still having my own business on the side, but it took a push to it was good income, to leave it. And I think there's a lot of people who are in that situation. How do I leave this to start this, and this is my passion, and is it going to create the income? Well, if you jump to do it, you've then got to not necessarily worry about having the best website or the right business cards or anything. Get out there and do it. I know when I launched my first online training program, so a webinar, which I sold into programs, 80% of people online bought into the program, which is unheard of. Haven't done that level again since. Did I have the online program created? No. I had one module out of 7 half-time. And then, because there's no use creating something if nobody cares. And you haven't got the right audience. You haven't got a audience for it. You don't know how to get to that audience. So it's... And we
spoke about giving before you get, and Janeen lives that. She gave out the most referrals in the networking thing. But this is where I said as a joke, well, I guess you're going to say in your talk, you give before you get. It was on brand, which was... Give us a plug. What does brand stand for?
Brand stands for be bold, be relevant, be authentic, be noticed, and be driven.
There we go. So we get to throw a little bit of a plug in there as well. Yeah. All right. So we've been sitting here having a bit of a chat. I like to get people involved in this sort of stuff. I've learned. Thank Janeen for her time. This was just an impromptu one. I didn't book in and all this sort of stuff. It's just she had a bit of spare time.
Yep.
But this is when you're willing to take advantage of the opportunities. We've now got some content that she can do, and she can can convert into a podcast and all this sort of stuff, and I'll have some videos and I can share it around, and anyone can sell you better than you. Doesn't matter if you're a sales expert or not. You know, word of mouth is a very powerful tool. So thanks, Janeen. Any sort of parting words to, I guess, to people that in the Bootstrap startup market that they just can't afford it? And
thanks. I appreciate the opportunity, Brett. It's been great. I love, as I said, I love sharing. I just be patient with yourself and just take those steps. But the biggest thing, without a doubt, write down your goals, set goals, write them down. If you haven't got them written down, they're just a wish. But then set 90-day plans. The 90-day plans are where the tasks go down, and that's where your focus is for 90 days. You'll be amazed what you achieve in 3 months when you get to the end, if you stay on task. It's one of the best ways to get jobs done, is just don't do that. So that's really basic stuff. You know?
Yeah, well, you know, a dream is just a plan without a time frame, but if the plan doesn't work, you don't have to give up on your dream. You can always make another plan. And I think that's what Janeen comes into, and probably a lot of people come to you at that stage of their business. But you don't have to wait. You can come to Janeen now and do it. Do this sort of stuff. You can do the free skills recognition on the website that I've got up there. If you join the membership site, I'll put this video up on there as well, so that I get the details for people. That's because I want you to do the skills recognition. Everyone's got skills. If I know what skills you have or what skills you think you have, we can go out and I can match you up with whether it's Janeen or one of the other experts and all this sort of thing. And if you give Janeen that information, these are the skills that I've got, this is what I don't mind doing, this is what I hate doing, it's going to save her a lot of time.
Absolutely. And I'll look really cool in my sunnies out in the sun.
That's right, yeah. So, all right, thanks to you guys. We'll chat soon.